Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor. Another day, another hack. Turkey's oldest crypto exchange, BTC Turk, halts deposits withdrawals after 48 million in unusual outflows. Well, yesterday, I don't think I played this part, but this is Jim Bazzani from Caleb and Brown on how they prevent crypto hacks.
Worth investors. If we have clients that know they've been compromised, then often they haven't, which is where we'll get to the next phase of things. But if they're aware that they've been compromised, that's where they'll contact their broker immediately. You have their phone number, you have their email address. You can either contact our support team for our broker to get in contact with you, and we'll freeze the account immediately. So that's the first step. Now, unfortunately, there are a lot of scenarios where someone will click on a link, and it's not until 2 or 3 days later that they realize that, hang on a minute, my email's been compromised. I now can't get into my email. In that situation, as soon as someone processes a withdrawal request through us, we'll firstly go through a review process to determine whether that's actually you on the other side. So we have a whole bunch of security measures and protocols in place, even to the point where we'll review the language used in that email address. A lot of the time, we'll be able to actually identify whether it's the actual person requesting that withdrawal based on the IP address as well of that email, the written language. You know, we have a whole bunch of things in place to actually raise a few red flags internally. That's the first step. So we have a lot of safeguards to see whether it's actually that individual requesting that withdrawal. We'll also then actually call the actual individual. So a lot of the time, and the benefit of our brokerage service is that, look, our brokers actually know our clients. We know who they are. We have call logs of them. We know them even to almost a personal level. So the broker will actually call the client to verify that it's them, especially for those high value, large position withdrawals. And then there's also things like two-factor authentication. So that's why we always encourage clients to have 2FA. If someone hacks your phone or even your email, a lot of the time they won't get access to your 2FA. So in that scenario, you'll still have your two-factor authentication, which is required to verify any withdrawal as well. So a lot of the time we'll go through those steps before we even consider withdrawing those assets. So that's where the high touch, personalized element to our service comes to the forefront.
Having a person you can talk to and or email is Caleb and Brown's secret weapon and the institutional custody, which is free. Go to XRPwealth589.com. They are my partner, and this will take you to my partner page on on Caleb and Brown's website. It's XRPwealth589.com, and you can click sign up today if you want to get yourself your own broker. Crypto prices came down a little bit, and here's why. There was a bunch wiped out in the last 24 hours. This is the reason. US PPI rises 3.3% higher than expected, which is why we're seeing a slight dip right now. Long-term fundamentals remain strong. Trend back up. Should resume. Here's eGrag Crypto. Nice reason to liquidate the longs due to major miss in PPI. There's all the numbers. Look at this. Altcoin Daily. Bullish crypto targets. They've got a $7 XRP on their targets. My target, I'd say, I think we deserve $8 to $10 this time. Okay, I showed you the video in the last video, Wolf of All Streets with Mark Yusko calling XRP a scam and all that. Well, Wolf of All Streets took issue with it, and then I said, well, since you're not anti-XRP like you say here, let's invite him to XRP Las Vegas. And he says, I'm down. And then Brad Combs that runs XRP Las Vegas, it would be a privilege and an honor to have you on stage with us. Consider it done. I'll DM you. This will be a big step towards bridging the two communities. That's a good step. Let's do it. While we're trying to bridge, here's what all the Bitcoin and Ethereum maxis are trying to do. This guy's name is Stephen Ehrlich. He's an executive director at Unchained. That's Laura Shin's podcast, red flag there. Former research director at Forbes. She's she is or was a what do they call it? A contributor to Forbes, or I don't remember what exactly they call it. And so she's the one that when XRP hit its all-time high in June of 2018, she's the one that immediately turned around and wrote an article about how rich Chris Larson was. It was obviously a hit piece. This guy works with her, so don't be surprised when you hear this.
Like most people that don't live in this rabbit hole that we all exist in, like their eyes don't go past Bitcoin and Ether for the most part. Yeah, I mean the idea that, especially with XRP, like that would be akin to BlackRock offering meme coin ETFs, at least with XRP, in my opinion. I mean, Solana is a real blockchain with like that generates real revenue. Anyone that has read anything I've written about Ripple and XRP or heard some of my comments, I go to great pains to point out how little money the blockchain actually creates for how much it's worth. And they seem to now just be using their treasury to buy actual businesses to sort of create a revenue generating business. So aside from the legal entitlements that XRP and Ripple just got out of, I think it would be a tremendous reputational risk for BlackRock to offer XRP. And I say that someone has been proved many times in the past about how investors seem to care very little about fundamentals, at least when it comes to that particular token, because it remains very buoyant. Like most people.
Okay, and then we have another clown. I think this guy's name is Mark Moss. And yet, I mean, folks, I feel stupid while listening to it, and you will too, if you've been around for any period of time with all the research and things on Ripple and XRP. Oh, this makes me feel so stupid listening to this.
Bitcoin can solve that. It is a completely neutral, decentralized protocol that nobody can control. It's not Solana, it's not Ethereum, it's not XRP, it's none of those. So that is the biggest problem in the world, and Bitcoin can solve that, and that's going to create a lot of value. What problem is Solana or XRP solving? I don't know. Nobody knows.
I'll be showing you the problem it's going to solve in the group, the big picture that these clowns don't get.
Well, XRP says that they're going to be a way for banks to transfer money around, like a new SWIFT system. Okay. Do you regularly invest into bank software? Because I don't. How much is bank software worth? What's the total addressable market of bank software? How much value do they create, right? Like, and why can't they just use Bitcoin again, right? And so I think if you understand the problem, and then you can understand a solution to the problem, and then it starts to get a little bit technical. But why is Bitcoin different than XRP or Solana, right?
I can tell you how it's different. It's slower. It's not scalable. It's expensive. There's three.
And then you start to understand the decentralization and the size of the nodes, and why, in order to be decentralized, the node has to stay small enough that anybody in the world could run a node. And then you just kind of get more to the technical side of things. But what about consensus, and what about voting? And you have to go down all those rabbit holes to understand that Bitcoin is code. So Bitcoin is rules with no rulers. Other platforms have rulers that change the rules all the time, right? Like Ethereum has changed their monetary supply, I think, 3 times in like the last couple of years, right? And so then you have to start to go, number one, what's the problem? What's the solution? Okay, I understand that. Okay, that's the biggest problem in the world. If we solve that, there's massive value there. What are these solving? I don't really know. Are they big problems? Not really. How much value will accrue to that? Not very much. That's kind of the way I'd look through it. And back to Solana, XRP, etc., and I kind of asked about bank software. I asked people about XRP. Tell me what the mechanism is. Why do you think XRP goes up in value? What will the potential future be? Where do you come up with those metrics? They can't, right? It's
painful to listen to. Let me see if I can get this to play. It looks like it's doing one of those spinning things. Bitcoiners are not going to like this if I can get it to play. Well, we don't have to have it play. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says we are not going to be buying Bitcoin. Dun, dun, dun. I'm sure it'll start playing while I'm talking about something else. Right here, Matt Hogan, everything finance is going to be crypto. Charles Schwab's hiring a senior project product manager, crypto on-chain experiences. And what do we have here? Oh, okay, this is great. John Deaton, I've had 2 different Uber drivers in 2 different states, Nevada and Michigan, bring up XRP to me during the last 3 months. They said, "You look familiar, and I know you." I replied, "I ran for U.S. Senate against Elizabeth Warren." Both quickly responded, "No, that's not it. You're the XRP lawyer guy, right?" So he's more notorious for being an XRP lawyer guy than running for the U.S. Senate. That's how big XRP is. Okay, we're going to go to DAIXRP.com, and for the Bitcoin bozos, none of them are going to be in there, but for those of us that have been following this, I will show you the big picture and what really matters and what these clowns cannot get their minds around, but they will soon. DAIXRP.com for the Patreon, or click join below any of these YouTube videos, or hit subscribe on X. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. Let's go find out what XRP is going to do. Here we go.